Today, there are 2 million descendants of French-Canadian immigrants living in New England. These are our stories. Welcome to the French-Canadian Legacy Podcast.
Venez tous jeunes filles et garçons, je vais vous raconter l'histoire de notre immigration ici au USA, de grands aventuriers, de pays étrangers.
Bonjour everyone, this is Melody and we're back with French-Canadian news. We'll start with an article from Franco-American News and Culture by Juliana Leroux titled Canadianisms, North Americans Speaking Real French. From the article, like American English, the French spoken in Quebec and by Franco-Americans who grew up speaking French developed the language into distinctive communications where special environments and experiences are expressed in their communities. Check it out for more. Next up, we have a new blog post from Query the Past by Patrick Lacroix titled Franco-American Archives, Lowell and Iserberg. Join the historian and archivist himself, Patrick Lacroix, as he journeys through cemeteries and records to find more about one of his ancestors through local records. From the article, it is a story of immigration and industrialization, a story of poverty and persistence in little-studied areas. It is also a story where things don't go according to plan. Check out the blog post to see what Patrick uncovered. Moving on to podcasts, check out the latest episode of Franco-American Pathways titled Mapping Franco-Brunswick Part 1. This episode features author David Vermette of A Distinct Alien Race and executive director of the Pejepscot History Center, Larissa Vig-Picard. Check out this episode recorded in 2022 and learn about the Franco-American history of Brunswick. And now on to events. Are you ready for New Hampshire Poutine Fest? Mark your calendars for ticket sales on July 27th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Want to be notified with the latest New Hampshire Poutine Fest updates? Sign up for their newsletter on their site. On September 13th to 15th, if you're a French teacher or an adult over the age of 21 who speaks French, check out the French Immersion Weekend 2024 at Lac Brome, Quebec. There are limited spots, so fill out the attached registration form as soon as possible. From July 29th to August 2nd, kids aged 7 to 14 can learn basic vocab from 2 different languages in the French and German Language Immersion Camp Olympic Edition. Alliance Française in Manchester and FAC&H has partnered with the New Hampshire German Language School to present this exciting French and German language camp. Registration cost is $285 per child. On August 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd, from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m., kids can participate from home with virtual French fun in August. Each day of virtual French fun will feature various activities related to French culture, including songs, stories, speaking, and listening exercises. Registration cost is $80 per child. That's all I've got for you this time. Everything I've covered today will be linked in the French-Canadian Legacy podcast episode description. Merci for listening.
Thank you, Melody. Now, this week's episode is a little bit different, and I actually think it's pretty cool. Because we get to talk a lot about a region that I don't know, or at least before this episode did not know a ton about. We have Philippe Aubry, who is the creator and host of a podcast series. He's got a Facebook page as well about Histoire du Nord. And he does a lot of research and tells the story of the region of Quebec known as the Laurentians. There's a place that I think a whole lot of people from the States have been and probably don't even realize that they've been to that region. A lot of people who go skiing, Mont Tremblant, and there would be right where this region is, the Laurentians. And I've talked to some of my coworkers who go there every single year. I never heard of the term Laurentians before, but knew all about this mountain because they go skiing there regularly. Anyway, we hear a lot about how this region developed. And what is particularly fun is that this place actually has a connection to Franco-Americans. Like the whole region, why that place is what it is, has a lot to do with the whole migration that led to a lot of French Canadians moving down, particularly to New England. And now I think it's fun that a whole lot of us make our vacation or have vacations back up there now. So it's a really cool conversation. Again, a topic that I did not know a ton about. So next week, Philippe Aubry from Histoire du Nord. I'm just going to ask a bonus question. Can you tell me about the Revolution Tranquille in the Laurentians? Because I know you did an episode on that.
It's quite a good question. The French, the Révolution Tranquille is quite interesting because in the Laurentian, well, like everywhere in Quebec, this comes in a particular context where it is after the glory days of the after war. in which the economic is quite strong in the province. And we had a government, Maurice Duplessis, that lasted like 15 years, which quite slowed down some of the social aspects of the Quebecers' life, just like the hospital, for instance, or the school. In the 50s, the private system, which was held by the religious communities, couldn't keep up. I mean, they were flooded by a big amount of young children issued from this baby boomer generation.
Sure.
So the Laurentians saw quite a lot of changes on their territory in the 60s because, first of all, you have to understand that there were not a lot of hospital on the territory of the Laurentians before the 60s. But after the 60s, the problem is it's still problems that are to resolve because there's not a lot of population. If you talk about the schools have seen more changes in the Laurentians because, there's a lot of children, so there's a lot of demand. And we created the school boards, which was quite an upgrade if you oppose it to the older system, which was private or semi-private. But
sure.
We established I think 5 school boards with regional high schools, which were quite an upgrade because the high school always have been forgotten. In the Laurentian, you used to go to l'école de rang, so it's like a small elementary school that every children from all ages share the same classroom, which is quite rudimentary. And now you have education for everyone from the elementary school to high school, and we even saw some cégep form up, which are college, which were also quite an upgrade because, we used to have seminaries in the Laurentians, but the cégep were a big addition to the young students. There were no university at that moment. It will come later, but still, it was quite an upgrade to have more school. Let's say I would end with something quite particular from our province. In the 60s, we have to think about the nationalization of the electricity from by Hydro-Québec.
Right.
And the Laurentians were quite late in electricity terms because it used to be a lot of small companies, which was quite unique in the province in the 1960s, because everywhere else you had some big monopoly from big electricity companies, which was quite a problem because they kept ripped us off. But in the Laurentians, you had some municipal electricity, I would say mill, and some smaller businesses, private owners, but at a very small scale. So it was quite an upgrade for everyone to share the same electricity because, especially in the more rural regions, for a lot of people, it was the first time they could have electricity at home.
That is cool. That's fun, Philippe. This is a good chat, sir.
Yeah. I think I was quite good for something I was not aware of.
Now our fathers look at us and sigh with despair, to think that everything they love we simply do not share. But the spirit never dies, our culture will survive. Each of us must choose how much to keep alive. Each of us must choose how much to keep alive.
Special thanks to Josie Vachon for providing the music. You can find more about her at josievachon.com. This podcast was produced and edited by Mike Campbell. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at fclpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FCL Podcast for more information about the topics discussed. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to this episode.